Felipe.
Finally have a couple days off just to work on things. What was the emphasis today and getting stuff up?
Well, we had a lengthy film session, first and foremost, just to look at offensively and defensively from the Memphis game. Things that we have to do better. Pick and roll wise, offensively, our passing, our spacing was really poor that game. So just try to clean it up, and then getting on the floor, limited body, so we can't do a ton of stuff live, but a lot of conditioning, getting up and down, working on that, working on our spacing, working on our passing, and being able to pass the ball from to the elbow, into the post without it getting deflected or stolen, and getting a lot of shots up. So a lot of energy in the gym today was good, and the great thing is we have another practice day tomorrow to get ready for Friday night.
Is the most difficult thing with all these new bodies just learning the communication and learning the spacing, especially in the defensive end?
The only real new body obviously is Nick, and he's going to be the guy that takes the longest to get caught up to speed, but I think today and tomorrow will help. We've been giving him extra sessions, one-on-one with coaches, grabbing a group of players, going through the offense. But all the other guys should have a feel for it. We've been together since training camp, and this is our, my fourth year, so there's definitely some continuity, which I think has allowed us to maintain pretty positive defensive metrics, considering all the losses we've had. All the guys have been able to step in because of the system that we have in place.
Did any of the players on the practice report participate today?
I'm sorry?
Did any of the players on the injury report practice today?
Let me see. It's a long list.
Yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure no. But yeah, no Will, no Gary, no Paul. Jamal was held out today. Obviously, we're trying to limit the amount of contact exposure for Nicola, for Juancho starters. So we're trying to protect our guys as best as we can while finding ways to get positive work in and find ways to get better. And I think we were able to do that today. It was, like I said, we didn't go long, but really good film session, and that carried over onto the court.
Being as shorthanded as the team is right now, what are some of the challenges? What is the thought process behind trying to figure out lineup combinations, since there's not a lot of sample size given the guys who are available?
Yeah, game by game, who we're playing, matchups, one-on-one, collectively. But it's also not just that, Adam. It's also how does it affect our bench unit? Our bench unit has been really good, and they have a good rhythm. So trying not to break up their chemistry and synergy as well. It's really hard. So obviously, first game in Atlanta, I went with Trey Lyles. Last game, Memphis, really big, went with Mason. Getting ready to play against a very physical team in Oklahoma City. We'll figure out which lineup will give us the best chance in that game. But really right now, it's just more of a game-by-game situation, and what we feel will give us the best chance to win.
How much of what you had to mix and match lineups last year for a good period of time? How much of that can you reference in terms of what you're putting on the court this year?
There were times last year. I know there's a lot of people out there that are really against Mason and Nicola playing together. But mind you, we had a tremendous, maybe one of our better 3-game stretches of the season before the last run. We went in Portland, in Golden State, then come home and beat Utah with those guys out there together. You lose a defensive player in Paul Millsap. Mason gives you a defensive component to that starting group. Trey Lyles, obviously, his versatility. He's been out there and played with Nicola and Mason. So it definitely helps to have seen it last year at times. But the reality is sometimes you're going to have groups out there that haven't played together. They got to figure it out. And that's where, like today, working on spacing, not so much all of our play calls, but just how we space the floor, how we read, how we react, how we move on penetration. And if we can do that, we'll give ourselves a chance.
A couple players have specifically mentioned that they're knowing personnel, like the KYP has been better this year. There's more attention to the scouting report. Do you have any sense for why that's been improved this year? Because I know that was an area of frustration for you in years past.
Yeah, and it's still not perfect. We're still running off guys that we shouldn't at times, but I think we're second to third in three-point defense this year. And a lot of that is effort, a lot of that's game plan discipline, but also the personnel discipline within that. And that's something that we've made a huge point of emphasizing. We go through personnel every day, but we also give them personnel edits and reports, and they have the obligation and responsibility to look at those and to know. And we've also quizzed our guys more this year. Instead of me telling you what this guy does, we've given you every resource possible. You tell me what he does. Which way does he like to drive? Which shoulder does he want to turn off? turnover in the post. Whatever tendencies they may have, to make sure our players are understanding it. And I think our coaches and our player development coaches do a really good job of getting guys one-on-one to watch film as well, aside from the general film we watch as a team. So it all goes into it. Preparation is going to allow you to have more success than going in ill-prepared and guessing out there. And last year we had too many breakdowns, as you mentioned.
Monte Morris played in 3 games last year, but this year the amount of output that he's been able to put out on the floor, is he playing still like a rookie? Do you see some rookie instances?
No, I think Monte is remarkably, for his age and lack of experience, is playing like a poised veteran out there. As I mentioned after that Memphis game, we don't win that game without him. His playmaking, his rebounding, and his shooting. He scores 20 points and makes 4 threes. Granted, 1 3 hit every part of the rim and the top of the backboard and still went in, but we'll take it. So I think Monte has really calmed down, and he knows that I have confidence in him, and I want him to go out there and play aggressive, and he's doing that. So I love how he's playing, and he's playing well beyond his years.
How has Mark Price helped these point guards be able to play more as a floor general type game? I mean, it seems like Jamal's playmaking has jumped up quite a bit. Has Mark Price been involved in a lot of their, growth in that way?
Obviously Mark is, four-time All-Star, I believe, and was really a modern-day point guard, with his ability to play pick and roll and shoot the ball. And his main thing right now is working with guys, shooting, mechanics, free throws. But I tell him all the time, if you have anything to share with any of our players, don't think you're here just as a shooting specialist. You played the game, and you played the game at a very high level, so offer and share as much as you can. But I also think that, Jamal, the experiences he's going through, is learning as well, just on the fly by doing it. Film sessions that he and I may have one-on-one, helping him see the floor, making sure he understands what I'm seeing and the passes and reads that he needs to make, and he's getting better. And Monte obviously has a great feel. Monte is a true point guard. Jamal is a scoring point guard, but both of those guys are learning and becoming complete basketball players, which is all that matters.
Torrey's been matched up against an all-star point guard, I think in 6 of your guys' last 8 games or something like that. What have you liked about just his defense as a whole, and more specifically how he's guarded some of these really elite point guards out there?
Yeah, he makes life hell for those guys. And when you have to match up against his size, strength, athleticism, and the way he can move and recover, he might get beat initially, but he's got the innate ability to get back into play right away. So starting with the OKC game when we won there, his ability to guard Westbrook and harass him with help behind him. He doesn't do it just by himself. Mike Conley, he did a phenomenal job of guarding him. So anybody you put Torrey on, he's going to take that as a challenge. He goes out there and does a terrific job on that end of just picking up. Like, he picked up Mike Conley full court the whole night. He was into him, he was over, he was recovering, he was chasing from behind, and that wears guys down. And not many guys are willing to do that. And that's what I think separates Torrey from a lot of these other wing defenders. Torrey has a chance to really impact the game with his defense. And to be a good defensive player, you have to have those tools. It's also a desire. It's also a want. And I think, Torrey knows that's how he can leave his mark on this game. Because I can go out there and guard the other team's best player and make life really hard for those guys.
Thanks, Coach.